And a big welcome back, folks, to Gantry TV. It's been a big week for Irish sports, but the real action is only getting started. It's Ireland's premier sim racing series, RTA Virtual Motorsport, here returning for the Motorsport.ie Mustang America's Cup, and it's the third round live from the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada. My name's Evan Dalton. Behind the scenes is Ronan Hederman, but he'll be jumping in for the evening to give you some of his fantastic insights, and so you don't have to listen to my voice for the next 2 hours. But we're going to have a great evening, folks. We've had a very exciting first two rounds with some big points being scored, some big moves being made, and some big incidents happening. But we come to a completely different scenario here tonight. It is sort of a semi-street circuit, semi-permanent road course facility here in Montreal, Canada, and it is not a pleasant evening. Absolute downpours expected throughout the night, with maybe potentially a little bit of dry spells in between, and it's going to be a good one. You can see there in the weather on your screen, 20 degrees, which is nice and warm, but there is a 93% chance of participation. A 3 km/h wind, which shouldn't affect the drivers too much, but some still struggling with this Ford Mustang GT3. In previous weeks, we had Oscar Mangan and Jordan Kelly at the top of the orders. Last week in the Circuit of the Americas, we had Jordan winning Heat 1 and Heat 2, but Oscar taking pole for Heat 1 and winning the third heat. But it's been very competitive. We've had seven drivers taking a podium in the 9 heats, or in the 6 heats, I should say, we've had so far. And a couple of big names not racing tonight. No Ronan Doherty, no Conor Melliott. We'll have more on that later. But in terms of the championship standings, after our second round in the Circuit of the Americas, it is Oscar Mangan who has a narrow lead over Sean McGoldrick in second place. Now, Oscar would have an even healthier lead, but he did pick up a 15-point deduction for an incident in race 3 last week. He's on 157 points then, ahead of Sean McGoldrick in second on 142. Jordan Kelly on 130, but Ronan Doherty just 3 behind on 127, but obviously won't be scoring any here tonight. Then it's Sean McClements, who's just ahead of Dylan McClements, 112 and 100 for them, respectively. Conor Melliott then on 99, 1 ahead of Tony Stack on 98, who's just 5 ahead of Evan Walsh on 93. Then Jamal Gandor, who didn't really feature much in COTA, but certainly had a fantastic week in the season opener at Willow Springs, is on 71. And then we also have the B Championship, folks, to take a look at here tonight. And it's Stuart Brereton, who has a narrow lead in that one, ahead of Rich Murphy in second. Gary Corcoran then in third, ahead of Grace McCallion in fourth. He'll be looking for a stronger week than last time out. Had a very strong performance in Willow Springs, but maybe just got wrapped up in a few too many incidents in Circuit of the Americas, as did a lot of drivers. And then it's Aaron Dalton in fifth, just on 3 points. But as we take a look at the track for this evening, it is, of course, the 4.361 kilometre circuit. No, not Circuit of the Americas, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. And it's very different to what we've raced at in a lot of previous RTA seasons, potentially. The walls are very close here at the circuit that has hosted the Canadian Grand Prix since approximately 1967. It, of course, altered with the Moss-bordered circuit Mont-Tremblay. If anyone speaks better French than I do, you might be able to correct that one. But it then moved permanently here to Montreal and has hosted the race ever since. One man who has been to a Canadian Grand Prix here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and I'm going to give him his big introduction, is Mr. Ronan Hederman. Ronan, what was the crack like in Montreal at this circuit? Was it an enjoyable race?
Yeah, so we got to go over in 22 as part of being over there for a street festival for the F1. And all I can say is, anyone ever thinking of going to Montreal, get yourself a grandstand ticket. It is so hard to see anything here, but one of the main kind of features that kind of shocked me about the F1 is how hard it was to concentrate coming just before the Wall of Champions into that chicane, trying to concentrate on the cars, like screwed with your eyes. It's one of these tracks that's so fast, and then the braking capacity of those cars was just absolutely immense.
Yeah, you got to make sure you get yourself a grandstand ticket. You can't just stand in the pit line like you may be able to do at Mondello Park. But qualifying getting underway here then in Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and it's a track that likes to give drivers a maiden win, especially in Formula 1. 6 drivers got their maiden win around this circuit. In RTA, we're not kind at giving out many maiden wins. We, of course, had Dylan McClements take his maiden win a few seasons ago, but since then there's not been many. So might be, well, I suppose Oscar Mangan certainly taking his first win in the Gantry TV era, but there's a potential opportunity tonight for a couple of drivers down the order to get a good result, because there's not a lot of confidence maybe here this evening in terms of the car, the conditions in the circuit. A couple of drivers struggling with this 5.4 litre naturally aspirated Ford Mustang in very wet conditions around a very tight street circuit. And I suppose it will give an opportunity, if you can keep it out of the walls, you can keep it out of contact, you can make a few overtakes, it will give a good opportunity to get that a positive result. I was speaking with Sean McClements last night and a few of the other drivers in the previous weeks, and they have all made one thing very clear heading into this evening. Qualifying is oh so important, as we see someone go for a little bit of a half spin heading through turn number 5. Qualifying is very, very important here tonight. That's Ryan Smith, who you can see having a little bit of a half slide. You got to get a good lap in when you can. And one man providing a lap, as always, is the two-time race winner this season of Jordan Kelly. He didn't get much practice in the practice session last night, but has been on practicing in practice before the race here today. And Jordan, as you know from us watching his previous hot laps each week, is very quick in a race car. So we do have his lap to watch here, and we will take a quick look at this one before the interesting parts of qualifying just get started. So this is in towards turn number 1, and then in towards the Mirage Senna, the Senna chicane, named after the great Ayrton Senna, of course, exiting out of turn number 2, very difficult traction zone. Then it's in towards the downhill chicane of turn number 3 and 4, kind of blind on entry. You can see it the closer you get to it, but you can take a lot of curb on the inside and outside, but in wet conditions, that will get wet and puddles will form. Then it's in towards the right-hander of turn number 5. Keep close to that wall and try not to spring out, because there is a left-hander and you got to get back up to the right to get into the left of turn number 6 and 7. Jordan tried to go drifting through this section earlier in practice, failed miserably. Down towards turn number 8 then. This is where potentially some overtaking could happen in a smaller car, but not really in these GT3s. They're sort of too wide to go down the inside and towards turn number 8 and 9. It's another chicane, this time to the this time uphill, I should say, as opposed to downhill of 3 and 4. Then down towards turn number 10, the Lepingle hairpin. It's a right-hand, almost full lock hairpin, similar to the one you have in Monte Carlo, maybe not as tight. You can see Jordan just struggling to get it slowed down there, potentially with the wet conditions, potentially with puddles on the racing line. Then rounding through the little kink of turn number 11, technically a corner, as is this turn number 12. Technically a corner, but flat out in any conditions, onto the Casino straight, down towards the final of 3 chicanes, of 4 chicanes technically, on this Canadian Grand Prix circuit. This is the section where Ronan was talking about. You can see the cars just heading in towards the turn 13 and 14 and that wall there on the outside, the Wall of Champions, the Quebec Wall. There's multiple names, but it usually has one result for drivers, and that will be a lot of damage if you clip that on the outside. A good lap there by Jordan gives you a real taste of how difficult it is to put time together around this circuit, Gilles Villeneuve. So let's have a look at the quick time so far. Sean McClements goes to the top. Jordan Kelly setting some quick sectors as well. You can see Dylan just goes behind brother Sean. Brian McManus goes to third as well. Sean McGoldrick splits the two McClementses and manages to go second. Ian May goes to fifth, just ahead of Colin Carrigan there, beaten by Simon Hutchings. Brian McCarthy just goes behind Brian McManus. Then it is Tommy Nukaran who goes to sixth. He was involved in an opening lap collision in the Circuit of the Americas, and that kind of hampered his chances. And we have a couple of cars parked here. I think one is... No, I don't think one is Dylan McClements. That is Tommy, who's gone round there, sort of in the tartan orange and black. It's Ian May, you can see there, just parked on the exit of turn number 1. Not sure if that's due to an incident or if he's just letting drivers through, but certainly not moving for now. Jamal Gandor improves to fourth spot. We did see Jordan Kelly setting some good sector times, but he's not set a fast lap yet. Rory O'Shea goes quickest and he goes purple. First man into the 49s, you can see just rounding through there. And Simon Hutchings has gone to 9th, leader of the B Championship. Stuart Brereton has gone to 10th, just ahead of Ian May. So good lap there by Stuart. Peter McCann goes to 5th position. Peter can sometimes excel here in the wet running. Oscar Mangan goes purple in sector 2 and 3, but doesn't go purple overall. He's stuck behind Rory O'Shea here. He's the second man into the 49s, and he is just behind Rory O'Shea. You can see a 1:49.9 for Oscar Mangan, well ahead of Sean McClements, but not quite pipping Rory O'Shea. Dylan McClements you can see there as well, just rounding through. Sean McGoldrick has gone purple in sector number 1 and 2, and we're taking a look at him as he heads down towards the final couple of corners. Sean usually good in these conditions, usually one to keep an eye out on. He's very steady, is Sean McGoldrick, so sort of more chaotic race might suit him, like we had in the Nürburgring a couple of seasons ago, where he almost managed to beat Rory O'Shea. Sean McClemens beats Oscar Mangan. Much better time there by McClemens. Here's the other Sean McGoldrick. Is this going to be quickest across the line? It is. Purple for Sean McGoldrick, and quickest of the other, Brian McManus, actually improving as well to go to second. So it seems like the track is ramping up, or certainly a dry line is forming, at least, because there's a lot of drivers going quicker on their second lap. A little bit down the order, Stuart Brereton improving as well to go to 10th. Nathan Healy currently in 15th, ahead of Aaron Dalton in 16th. But we're still waiting on a lot of times, and no time yet from Jordan Kelly. He is not currently on the leaderboard, so doesn't have a registered lap in just yet. He is out on track, though, I believe, or at least according to our timing screen, I should say. No lap set from driver of the day, Lawrence de Salzwa, just yet. He hasn't got a time on board either. But oh, I have just got into my ear. Lawrence is doing a last to first challenge. You could have picked a bit of a better track to potentially be more successful on. Very difficult indeed to do it around the Circuit of the Americas in these conditions. So Lawrence is doing a last to first challenge and won't be setting a time for now. Oscar Mangan improves to second, the three-time race winner this season, 2 in week 1, 1 in week 2. He goes to second just behind Sean McGoldrick. Evan Walsh currently in 8th position, as you can see there out on track. It's going to be a bit of a messy one for the remaining 8 minutes of this, as we await and see. Will drivers give up on maybe their last to first challenge? Will they set a time? Certainly Jordan Kelly will be looking to set a time to continue on his championship charge. Jordan Kelly already is on the back foot compared to last season in qualifying. He took all 8 pole positions in the Super Formula Lights. He hasn't taken one yet this season in the GT Freeze, and thankfully pole to race 1 win dominance hasn't continued, as neither driver that's taken pole has actually taken Heat 1 win here in this Mustang America's Cup. Sean McGoldrick goes quickest, and he's instantly beaten by Jordan Kelly. Is that a sort of an opposite commentator's curse, maybe? I'm not overly sure, but Jordan Kelly does go quickest in the blue, white and red machine, just ahead of Sean McGoldrick in second. Apologies. Still plenty of times to come in, though. We're still awaiting a lap from Andrew Murphy, Rich Murphy, Bryce McCallion. We won't be getting one from Lawrence de Salzwa, of course, so he'll remain down the bottom of the order. Evan Walsh improves on his time. Him and Brian McCarthy have actually set the exact same lap. A 150.181 for both Brian McCarthy and Evan Walsh. I'm assuming Brian McCarthy's ahead because he set it first, but in all honesty, it could just be the way the cookie crumbles. It could be alphabetical order for all we know. Jamal Gandor does improve and beat them both. However, there was a car off there to the left-hand side. I imagine there'll be a few like that here tonight, off and wide. But Jamal not one of them, improving to 8th position. Oscar Mangan beats Dylan McClemens and goes to 3rd. Not an overall dominance here from Oscar Mangan, like some might have thought heading into this evening. He is having it put up to him so far in qualifying. It's a 1:48.9 for both himself and Sean McGoldrick. Jordan Kelly just a little bit quicker than that with a 1:48.5. So the track is definitely improving. Ronan might be able to tell us, is it meant to rain even more in any of the heats, Ronan?
It's just to stay consistent, as far as I know, through the whole session. So I would assume that we've got quite a mix up there of people around the top, people that are a bit faster in the rain versus everyone else. Sorry, my screen is frozen here. I shall look into that while you were talking.
The times are I'm wondering if the Oscar Mangan stop times are still going in. We can see the timing board on the left-hand side. Sean McGoldrick currently quickest. Jordan Kelly improved as well, as did Brian McManus. He's just entering the pit lane now. Sean McClemens currently 6th. Brian McCarthy in 7th. Colin Carrigan in 9th, who was actually being coached by Sean McClemens last night, seemingly. Or at least that's what Sean was claiming to me. Evan Walsh improves and beats Jamal Gandor in 10. 5 minutes to go here in qualifying, folks. We will get some on-screen action for you shortly, but we're currently having a lovely look at Oscar Mangan's livery here. This is probably just iRacing doing iRacing things, but we still have a timing tower on the left-hand side, and there's not many laps being put in, so we're not missing an awful lot. David Prunty is putting a lap in, though, previous B-Series champion. Not from the Super Formula Lights, but certainly from previous seasons. David Prunty picking up a B championship. And of course, the the thing with the B Championship is once you win it, you're not allowed to race it again. It's kind of like Formula 2 or GP2. You can see the calendar for the next couple of weeks as well, folks. We have plenty of races coming up. This is our only trip north of the border, and then we head back down south. It's the Daytona Roval that we are heading to next week. So another track where qualifying is probably not as important as Canada or Montreal, I should say, but certainly important nonetheless. Then it's Road America, Mid Ohio, Virginia International Raceway in Laguna Seca. Your very American sort of road course tracks, which we look forward to getting to. But keep an eye on qualifying. I'll keep a look on the timing screens to keep you updated, folks, when we get any potential issues fixed. Oscar Mangan has improved to third once again. There's still 4 minutes left on the timing screen, although in all honesty, not sure the timing screen is working either. But I did just show me Oscar Mangan improving to third spot. One of the big talking points from last week was the incidents in heat number 2 with Ronan Doherty, Sean McClemens, Oscar Mangan. Oscar actually very worried that he would cause potential trouble with the McClemens household, and he doesn't want to do that. So he took his penalty, took it on the chin, and said he doesn't want to cause any more incidents this week, which I thought was a very professional approach from Oscar Mangan. Oscar, of course, Ireland's number one I-rated driver. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to sweep the field, but certainly going by the I-rating rankings, he is the number one driver. He's a driver and a coach for Altus Esports. He knows his way around an American series, third in GTP and IMSA Esports in 2023. He came first in the 6 hours of Spa in the 24 hours Esports series, and he qualified for the 2023 Porsche Esports Super Cup. So he's stepping out of his comfort zone a little bit here, actually. He is used to longer sort of formats. Certainly, any of the statistics I have are all to do with longer formatted racing. So he's stepping out of his comfort zone a little bit here. Unfortunately, folks, we can't keep you updated on qualifying. The timing screen has completely gone down. So we will get back to you soon with racing action. Oh, we are just getting told that we're going to be heading back in now for the remainder of qualifying. In all honesty, I was about to go to what's it called when DEFCON 1. That's it. I was going to go DEFCON 1 and go to Lawrence de Soswa's live stream to keep you updated and see was there any issues there. But of course, he's doing the last of first challenge. He is actually out on track, would you believe, Lawrence? So potentially binning off that idea and potentially not doing the last of first challenge that he's claiming in his live stream title. Is that breaking some of the sale of goods and supply of services false advertising laws? We will have to wait and see. We'll find out for you later, folks. But Lawrence is currently out on track. It's still very wet indeed. We're coming into the final minutes of qualifying, folks. We will have racing action back in heat number 1 and heat number 2. There's no issues about that. Who needs qualifying anyways? Like it's just sorry, Ronan, what did you say?
Sorry, I said just the comments in YouTube are going off there. If you wanted
Oh,
to,
here
if
we
you wanted
go.
to
We're being slated, I presume.
not too bad. I think we're back now.
Oh, here we go. We are back, and it's Lawrence de Soswa that we are looking at. Chris McCann, I think, defending us a little bit in the comments there, actually, or at least defending us to Conor Melia. But 1 minute to go in qualifying, then it's actually looking lovely and sunny here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Jordan Kelly is quickest ahead of Oscar Mangan in second spot. As if 2 hours of solo commentary isn't difficult as it is. Then we decided to have no timing screen or no racing action. But we are back now to the final laps of the session, and both the McClemens brothers, as you can see, heading round together in unison on the circuit. Is Dylan in the yellow, Sean in the purple. That's how you can differentiate them two tonight. Here is Dylan McClemens going to cross the start-finish line first. Sean is heading into the pit lane, so it will be just Dylan who is crossing the line. And can he improve? Oh, he can. He pips Sean right in the dying embers. So that is a turn for the books, and that will probably annoy Sean for the main race. But it is Jordan Kelly who will get his first pole of the season here. The Super Formula Lights champion, the GT4 champion, who was so dominant in qualifying, has finally returned, and we'll take pole for heat number 1 here, ahead of Oscar Mangan in second. Sean McGoldrick will line up in third, Dylan McClements in fourth, Sean McClements then in fifth with Rory O'Shea in sixth, and Peter McCann in seventh. Brian McManus then in eighth with Evan Walsh in ninth, Brian McCarthy in 10th, the Colin Carrigan who starts 11th, Jamal Gandor will start 12th, Stuart Brereton in 13th, it will be David Prunty 14th, Nathan Healy in 15th, Adam Dowling will start 16th and ahead of Tony Stack and Kevin Joyce in 17th and 18th position. A little bit further down then it's Ian May, Philip Upson, Tommy Nukaran, who we saw have a bit of an issue in qualifying, Ryan Smith ahead of Simon Hutchings, Aaron Dalton, Lawrence de Salzwa, Andrew Murphy, Rich Murphy, Grace McCallion and Simran Tacker. Lawrence has picked a good day actually to do his first challenge because there is 5 drivers not setting in time, so he'll start 25th and not last for this one. But Ronan, what can we maybe expect from the race here, at least from looking at the weather and looking at the technical aspects of the racetrack, I suppose?
Yeah, sorry, it was all panic stations there for a second. Yeah, I think the rain, as I say, it isn't even raining right now, but I think the rain is going to be a major factor here. Some drivers, we know Jordan hasn't been a fan of the rain. We know some of the top guys are more likely to make a mistake in the rain. I think that's going to be the leveling factor here, and I think that's where we're going to see really, really good racing. But this track, the first couple of corners, if we have one spinner, I have a feeling we're going to have quite an upset. So let's cross absolutely everything.
Yes, the safety car gets us underway, or the pace car, as they'd say in an American series. He will get Jordan Kelly around. Jordan, not an overall fan maybe of the car or the weather conditions, as Ronan was touching on there. Jordan struggling a little bit in the first week, got back up to his mojo in the second week, almost taking a clean sweep, just being beaten by Oscar Mankin in the third heat, but he was absolutely flying. Speaking of flying, we did have something to cut to, but we'll have to maybe try that one again. There we go. I don't think a certain man would be enjoying seeing this, but that's Conor Melia. And if you're wondering why Conor Melia is not racing here tonight, that's on medical grounds, as Conor involved in an incident in Kyrgyzstan in the Irish Formula D debut. Sorry, he was having a go at us in the stream chat, so he decided we would bring it on. Hope Conor is doing well, though, nonetheless, and he'll be back with us next time at the Daytona Roval. But for now, it is time to get underway here in heat number 1 for tonight's action, round number 3 of the Motorsport.ie Mustang America's Cup. A big thanks to Motorsport.ie, of course, for sponsoring this series. Drivers receiving trophies, and they all know that now, so they will be fighting for one here tonight. We are through the turn 13 and 14 chicane on this formation lap, very much bunched up. There will be Jordan Kelly that's going to get us underway here in Montreal as we go racing at the circuit. Gilles Villeneuve, great start for Kelly, has got Oscar Mankin napping, and that might allow Dylan McClements to have a go down the inside of Mankin. You can see Oscar running very wide here in towards turn number 1. That's going to tighten up for turn number 2. He's got to leave the space for Dylan McClements, which he does so. McClements on the dryer line on the outside is going to get the traction, and that's a great move for Dylan McClements there. He's up the second spot. Sean McGoldrick in fourth as well, potentially looking to challenge Sean McClements, losing a spot to Rory O'Shea, but Dylan up 2 spots from his starting position of 4th. A great start for him indeed. Jordan almost pulling a second here, has pulled a second on Dylan McClements. Those two squabbling for second has given him a nice healthy lead, heading in towards the middle sector for the first time. A little bit further down the grid, see Adam Dowling, Healy there for 14th. Peter McCann and Brian McManus potentially going to go scrapping as well. Brian getting ahead of Peter on the start. Peter qualified just ahead. Brian getting the spot early on, and we're looking at Brian McManus in that other VRA car, running the same livery as Peter and as Jordan, and he's actually ran wide, so that's going to allow Peter McCann in the number 21 to maybe have a look down the inside, but the inside will become the outside for the turn 10 hairpin. He's going to have to get creative with the moves here under braking. One of the better overtaking opportunities on the track, potentially. This one, as you can see, Evan Walsh looking to get in. He's actually in an Irish version of the VRA racing liveries. I've just clocked that, and that is looking superb indeed. Evan known, certainly an RTA, for always having a nice livery, always having a nice paint scheme. So sporting that once again. The spray, very much vivid though, on this back straight, the casino straight. And you can see Adam Dowling working to try and get past Stuart Brereton here. He's looking down the inside of the current B Series Championship leader. Stewart, though, the Rainmaster, as he has dubbed himself, will be looking for a strong result tonight, and he's turned in a bit there on Adam Downing, and he's going to be forced to go across the chicane. Stewart, the cause of his own demise there, as he'll now drop down below. Adam Downing will get up to 13. Stewart will drop to 17th behind David Prunty. Might even lose the spot to Ian May as well down towards the first corner. But completely his own fault there, I think. Just turned in on Adam, and Adam, of course, wasn't going to disappear, so Stewart got bumped across the chicane, and he's now down to 17th and will have to recover. A little bit up the field, we're looking at Peter McCann under pressure from Evan Walsh in the battle from 8th. You can see the starting positions. Oh, that's new for this week. You can see the starting positions on the left-hand side. It's the biggest gainer in the field is actually Simon Hutchings, who's up 4, but in sort of the front runners, Brian and Dylan, both getting excellent starts indeed, as Peter McCann almost looks like he's going slow-mo through the corners at this point. Just keeping it smooth, keeping it stable, and making sure he's not making any mistakes. Sean McGoldrick under pressure by Rory O'Shea, two drivers who have fought in the past. Certainly they've fought for race wins, they've fought for podiums and championship position. Last season, Rory O'Shea 3rd in the A Championship, Sean McGoldrick 5th in the A Championship, but they weren't separated by that many points, and Rory O'Shea runs wide at the hairpin. Rory just getting it all out of shape, and he's had to hook the car in now under pressure from Brian McManus. That gives Sean McGoldrick a little bit of breathing space here for the next minute or so at least, as Rory will have to look to regain his pace and catch back up. Sean McClements, man who claims I curse him at every given occasion, is down to 11th spot, looking to try and recover here in this race. It was very quick in practice last night, but needs to keep moving up the field here in heat number 1. Brian McCarthy is the man he is challenging. Brian currently in 10th in the blue and yellow. Sean behind in the purple and black, as Oscar Mangan has a problem. Oscar dropping down the field. He's dropped to 6th place. Not overly sure what happened to Oscar. Ronan might have something for us there. Was it just a mistake for him?
Yeah, it seems to be a mistake on track there for Oscar. There was no off track, and it doesn't look like there's any visible damage to the car, so Oscar continuing on. But yeah, a bit of an odd move for him. But again, I think it's what I was saying earlier, this rain is going to start playing the factor very, very quickly, and he's trying very hard to keep that car straight and narrow.
He is, so definitely a mistake there for Oscar Mangan. I was wondering maybe he picked up a 1X or something across the chicane, but no, it's very clearly a mistake, because he is struggling, and Peter McCann is catching him, as I'm just seeing in the YouTube comments. I'm being told off by Chris McCann. So here's a little bit of Peter hype to try and win back over the McCann family. Peter driving a solid race so far in 7th spot, looking to get ahead of the current championship leader in 6th. And round 3 was where it all went wrong for Jordan Kelly last season at the Nürburgring. Could maybe history repeat itself and it all goes wrong for Oscar Mangan? Who's Brian McCarthy? Wow, that's late on the brakes. He gets past Sean McClements. Dylan McClements, on the other hand, gets past Jordan Kelly. It's a mixed bag for the McClements household, and Dylan takes the race lead here. Dylan's very crafty in wet conditions on his day. Won Donington Park race 3 in... Oh, was it the Super Formula Lights? Yeah, it was the Super Formula Lights. Won Donington Park race 3 in very similar conditions. That was the second wet race in RTA, it was second with the Endurance Series included. So Dylan knows how to drive these wet conditions, and he's actually gapped Jordan Kelly early on here. As we just cross over the halfway mark, we have about 4 minutes to go, seconds to be exact. Dylan McClements is in the lead of this one, and if he keeps driving the way he's driving, Jordan's not going to catch him. Jordan has struggled to get past Dylan in previous races before. We remember that absolute cracker in Brands Hatch, so Dylan knows he might be able to have a win ahead of Jordan Kelly here. This is Oscar Mangan and Brian McManus. I thought Oscar Mangan was going to go down the inside there, heading through turn number 7, and that would be brave is one word, stupid probably another, so Oscar backs out of that one knowing that he doesn't want to make that move. He's now trying to just stick with Brian McManus, maybe get ahead before the end of the race. 5th might be all on offer here for Oscar Mangan after that early mistake, as made a mistake in Heat 2 last week in the Circuit of the Americas. Myself and Kevin Gavin were trying to give him an excuse, but he came clean in the interview, saying, no, it's just my own mistake. Bit of a mistake for Brian McManus, heading through that very chicane with 3 minutes on the clock to go. Well, 7 minutes on the clock, but 3 to go. Here's Oscar Mangan back down the inside. No, not able to make it stick as the rain is increasing and the spray is returning. Oscar Mangan not able to get ahead for the time being. This is where we're seeing how difficult overtaking is. As Kevin was saying last week, it's a big car. It's a very big car, and this is a very, very narrow circuit here, the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. So drivers are struggling to make move sticks. You can see that here with Sean McClements as well. Probably the quicker of the two between himself and Brian McCarthy, but he's not able to get ahead for the time being, and he is stuck behind. You can see Jamal Gandor having a steady race in ninth, just a little bit sliding into the chicane, and as we said, he was having a steady race. Runs wide, clips the wall of champions. That's going to allow Brian and Sean through. Jamal, unfortunately, not a champion here in RTA, but he's fallen down to 11th position. Kevin Joyce and Nathan Healy going scrapping as well. Kevin Joyce just ahead of Healy in towards the braking zone at turn number 1. That's Adam Dowling, you can see in 14th in the VRA livery there. As that's not Peter McCann or Jordan Kelly who's made a mistake. There is another red, white and black and blue Mustang on the grid tonight. We're getting into the final moments. Jamal Gandor has fallen behind Sean McClements now, and it seems like problem for Brian McCarthy. He's gone falling, was ahead of Sean McClements for the entire race, and yes, it was a spin for Brian. He almost comes back in front of Tommy Nukaran, but does spot that and won't pick up a penalty for, well, killing another car's race. But that's very disappointing for Brian McCarthy. He was having a very steady race and was looking to take a top 10 finish, not able to do so, and McCarthy will fall way down the order here. That promotes all these guys a place. That promotes Jamal Gandor into the top 10. That promotes Adam Dowling, as you can see, into 13th, but he's looking to make that 12th. But a move past Nathan Healy, who goes across the chicane. That is the turn 8 and 9 chicane here, just heading in towards the third sector. So Nathan Healy will fall behind David Prunty in the yellow and black. And it will be Adam Dowling who is up ahead. Up the front, Dylan McClements was ahead of Jordan Kelly by about 1.2, 1.3 seconds. Jordan has got the head down and is now within 0.8 of a second of Dylan. Dylan managing this race nicely. We'll have one more lap. This will be the white flag before the clock strikes 10 here in the first of 3 heats tonight. So if you're new to RTA, don't go anywhere. We've got 2 more fantastic races, even longer races coming up for you. Jordan Kelly was the quicker of the two on that last lap, but the timing screen saying only by 1/10 of a second, so the slipstream maybe paying due diligence there and just coming in clutch for Jordan Kelly. Dylan, look, he knows how to manage the lead at this point. He is only a young driver, but definitely knows how to win here in RTA and has to take a very narrow line, potentially just trying to avoid the wet on the outside of the corner. You can see Sean McGoldrick skating through that very same section as well. He's holding off Rory O'Shea. Rory not able to get close to the man in third place. Is he a little bit further back? Oh, that's a mistake for Brian McManus, and that's going to allow Oscar Mangan to sneak through. Brian doing a great job, but just got all twitchy under the braking there, struggling to get the car stopped, and Oscar Mangan hooks it up the outside. Problem for Jordan Kelly. Jordan Kelly going slowly off the corner as he picked up a penalty there, maybe, Ronan?
Again, on track, nothing to do off track at all. It seems like he's just literally made that mistake all on his own.
Okay, that's a really peculiar one. Jordan Kelly having a problem, and he's down to 8th place, 9th place, 10th place. He stopped. Jordan Kelly stopped on the circuit, heading in towards the turn 8 and 9 chicane. The man who's second in the championship has completely stopped, will not be scoring points if he stays like that one. And this will be Dylan McClements' first win of the Motorsport.ie Mustang America's Cup here in heat number 1 of 3. Unless he has a big problem in towards this final chicane. Never celebrate too early at Canada. Nigel Mansell found that out the hard way as he was fist pumping into the final corner and then his car broke down. But Dylan McClements will be all home and dry, pardon the pun. He'll take the win here in heat number 1 ahead of Jordan Kelly. Sean McGoldrick in second. Rory O'Shea will come home in third. He will get that podium in the high prey after all. Oscar Mangan will come home in fourth. What a big swing in the championship that he wasn't expecting from that heat. Brian McManus, after making a mistake, will still take fifth. But Jordan Kelly's last lap going to be the big talking point from that one. He's currently running in 16th position, as I think Ronan's just said hardware failure there.
Yeah, I just see Chris saying in the chat, and it is very, very possible that he's had a VR failure. So anytime that when I was racing with Jordan, if he had a VR failure, he had to pull over to the side. So I think Chris might be right there. Yeah,
that's a great call, Chris, and probably what happened for Jordan Kelly. because he was going very slowly and then just pulled over to the right-hand side of the end of the chicane, which would usually be something you'd associate with a breakdown, but I don't think these cars can break down, although as I say that, what's going on here with Brian McCarthy and Simon Hutchings? We saw, I think it was Simon Hutchings being pushed backwards across the start-finish line last week. He's going at a snail's pace now. Bleed a penalty before the line is what he was doing, which is smart, admittedly. And Andrew Murphy, they're coming home in 23rd. Colin Carrick in 24th. Simran Thakkar 25th. We'll have the full results after a while, but a disappointing race for Tony Stack. He'll only take 26th position, and then Grace McCallion 5 seconds behind in 27th. Very dramatic first heat. Maybe overtaking wasn't the order of the day, but certainly drama from top to bottom. And it'll be a third week where the pole sitter doesn't actually take the Heat 1 win. So it was pole for Ronan Doherty in Heat number 1. Oscar Mangan won it in Willow Springs. Oscar Mangan took pole for Circuit of the Americas Heat number 1. Jordan Kelly won it, and then Jordan Kelly took pole here for Heat number 1 in Montreal. And Dylan McClements does take the win. Here's your full confirmed results then. It is Dylan McClements who takes the win ahead of Sean McGoldrick in second. Rory O'Shea there in third. Oscar Mangan in fourth. Brian McManus in fifth. Peter McCann in sixth. Evan Walsh in seventh ahead of Sean McClements in eighth. Jamal Gandor in ninth. Ken Joyce in 10th. Adam Downing in 11th. David Prunty in 12th. Nathan Healy in 13th. Ahead of Stuart Brereton in 14th. Then there's Tommy Newgren in 15th. Jordan Kelly in 16th. And Ian May in 17th. Ryan Smith in 18th, and Aaron Dalton 19th. Lawrence de Soswa en route to his last of races in 20th, ahead of Brian McCarthy in 21st. Simon Hutchings in 22nd, apologies, while Andrew Murphy in 23rd, ahead of Colin Carrigan, Simran Thakkar, Tony Stack, Grace McCallion, Philip Upson, and Rich Murphy. Ronan, I'm not too sure what you know about. Oh, apologies. I'm not too sure what you know about VR headsets, but do they cause a lot of trouble?
Yeah, they can do. I know that from absolute experience here, but yeah, Jordan has had that failure a couple of times before, and it seems like Chris McCann has actually said there, yeah, Jordan's VR tracking has up and gone, so that's why he had to stop on the track, which is very, very unfortunate.
Yeah, very disappointing for Jordan's VR tracking. I don't know how drivers do iRacing with VR headsets, but admittedly I don't know how they go this quick either, so that's two questions of mine. Very disappointing for Jordan and could have costly consequences in the championship, but that will all be decided later when drop rounds are taken into account. All he needs to focus on now is get up that grid for the reverse grid and get into the top 8 for good points and a good starting position. But it'll be Dylan McClements who will start on pole in this one then in heat number 2, and if his pace is to go by in heat number 1, he is a man who could certainly take a second win here tonight. I can't remember the last time, if there was a time, Dylan McClements took 2 wins in the one evening. He's certainly been on the podium multiple times in one evening, being the highest scorer in rounds plenty of times. But he will be looking to take a good result. He only scored 2 wins as a whole last season in Super Formula Light. He's got 3 wins in the GT4 Cup, but he stood on the podium 7 times last season. That was actually his first Heat 1 win ever in RTA. He has taken pretty much all of his previous heat wins in heat number 3. But Dylan McClements gets us ready here in Montreal, and we go racing for the second time at the circuit. Gilles Villeneuve, Sean McGoldrick there in second, Rory O'Shea in third, Oscar Mangan looking to try hook it round the outside in fourth. He took the outside line in heat number 1 and lost the position, almost gaining one this time round. The 2 VR8 cars of McManus and McCann 5th and 6th. Getting a much steadier start here. The driver's slowly getting used to the positions, but it's a great start for Dylan McClements, who's taken an almost trademarked inside line into that corner at this point, and of Sean McGoldrick there in second. A little bit further down the field, we've had a couple of movers and shakers, and there's 2 spots gained for Ryan Smith, 2 for Lawrence de Soswa, Simon Hutchings gaining a couple of spots as well. I think I've just said Ryan Smith's name as he goes falling down the order, and he is out of this one, it seems. Move here for Jordan Kelly, already looking to make a move on B Championship leader Stuart Brereton. So the 2 Rain Masters going at it for 14th spot. Rory O'Shea, I thought he was a lot closer to Sean McGoldrick than he was, but it's actually Oscar Mangan in the trademark blue, putting him under a lot of pressure. And the Dublin man versus the Wexford man in the battle for 4th place. We're now on board with Sean McClemens. His brother leads the race. He's looking to cut through the field, and you can see there, you almost can barely see the apex with how wide these cars are in front. That's a mistake for Sean McClemens, though, running a little bit wide. That'll allow Kevin Joyce to sneak up the inside. Sean McClemens will have to fight this one back, though. Has got a great exit off the turn 10 hairpin down towards the right-hander, and you can see Kevin Joyce being put under a whole load of pressure here. Who's going to be bravest on the brakes? Oh, bit of nudging, bit of wheel banging, door to door between Joyce and McClemens, down towards the right-hander. Sean McClemens just trying to squeeze it round the outside, but that's a no-go. And great defending there by Kevin Joyce. David Prunty lunges down the inside of Nathan Healy in the 52. He's able to get ahead, and you can see Sean McGoldrick being put under some pressure by Rory O'Shea at the front. But Dylan McClemens leads by a second, Ed McGoldrick in second, then it is O'Shea, Mangan, McManus, McCann, Walsh, Joyce, the other McClemens, not the other Sean McClemens, there's only one, and then Jamal Gandor in 10th place in the 9-6-1. Oscar Mangan, though, and Rory O'Shea, probably the closest battle on track for the time being, and certainly a very important one indeed that could have big championship implications. Rory O'Shea currently only 12th in the championship, but we know how quick he is on his day, picking up good results last week, picking up a podium in Heat 2, of course, got 2nd place in that one, but then problems in Heat 3, which unfortunately has become very common for Rory O'Shea, or it certainly did at the end of the Super Formula Light season. Here comes Oscar Mangan, though, going to try it down the inside in towards turn number 8 and 9. We said it was too tight for a GT3 overtake. Unfortunately, one of the few times I improved right here on the Gantry TV stream. Oscar Mangan not able to get down the inside for now. It's a lot closer bunched up, this one, than Heat 1 was maybe after the 3-minute mark. This is, of course, the longer 15 minutes, as Oscar Mangan's going to try slingshot it around the outside. That's not going to work, not in these wet conditions anyways, maybe in a dry race, but he wasn't able to get the car hooked round. Did get a better exit than Rory O'Shea, though. Slow out, fast in, and Oscar Mangan is going to be able to potentially slipstream down the back straight. Here's Tommy Nukaran and Lawrence de Soswell. Lawrence just ahead in the time being in 15th. Started 20th, did Lawrence, so he's up 5 spots already. But Tommy Nukaran trying to get the job done. The Finnish native, I believe he's the only Finnish driver here on the grid. Although after the races, technically they're all finished. There's a bad joke in there somewhere, as Tommy Nukaran is trying to get the move done on Lawrence. No, not able to do so. And Lawrence, on his quest for last to first, goes up to 15th place. Rory O'Shea, a little bit slidey in towards the first corner. Might be put under some pressure from Oscar Mangan, but can't quite do so. Fastest lap of the race in that last lap went to Evan Walsh, who goes purple. So he's clearly driving well. Jordan Kelly, they're going to put Jamal Gandor under a whole lot of pressure here. It is sunny, but still a lot of spray, and you can see no positional change in the top 7. Then Kevin Joyce has gained 2 spots, so very timid at the front of the grid. Not a lot of overtaking opportunities. Jordan Kelly is looking to make his 6th position gained here so far in heat number 2, and that's going to have to be played on Jamal Gandor, who I believe has just let him through, but did Jordan Kelly actually nick the wall there on the outside? He did. We'll have to see if there's damage maybe for his car. That's the last thing he needs in this heat, because he is only a handful of spots off that reverse grid starting place for heat number 3. But he's ahead of Jamal Gandor nonetheless. Damage or no damage, Jamal will fall down to 11th spot, which is still not a bad result for Jamal. He's trying to stay in and around the top 10 in the championship and doing a good job of that as of now. Here's Oscar Mangan. Got to try this one again around the outside of Rory O'Shea. This is a lot better an attempt, though, and he's a lot closer alongside, but you can see once he hits the puddles on the outside of the corner, he's not able to get it stopped. Rory O'Shea, though, has actually hit a puddle on the exit of the corner, and that's going to allow Oscar Mangan to sneak back through. The highest rated I-rating driver in Ireland gets ahead of Rory O'Shea, and that will be 3rd spot for Oscar Mangan. He's having to work hard for it, though, because O'Shea potentially going to look to try pounce back on the attack. No, not able to get the job done, and that will be Oscar Mangan ahead of Rory O'Shea for now. Dylan McClemens only leading by 7/10, but still looks comfortable at the front nonetheless. Sean McGoldrick being put under some... Well, no, he's not really being put under pressure. He did set the fastest lap, but that was beaten by Oscar Mangan. So Evan Walsh no longer the fastest lap holder in this race. Fastest lap does go to Oscar Mangan, who has set a 1:58.9. That's quicker than what a lot of drivers did in qualifying. So maybe that just goes to show the pace we're running at, but it's more likely the track improving and these drivers getting more used to the car, more used to the wet conditions. 6 minutes into this one then out of 15, 9 minutes to go in heat number 2 out of 3. So make sure you do stick around for that one, folks, and make sure, of course, you check out our title sponsors, Motorsport.ie, sponsoring the Motorsport.ie Mustang America's Cup. We thank them very much for their partnership here with Ireland's premier sim racing series. And of course, if you don't follow Motorsport.ie, you're the one losing out, not we are, because probably the #1 place for Irish motorsport news. Sean McGoldrick, you can see being put under pressure by Oscar Mangan here. Oscar knows this is a big week to take some points on Jordan Kelly, and he's looking to get ahead of the second place driver now. Jordan is still in 10th place, looking to get past Sean McClements, as that's Sean McGoldrick very late in the brakes, but Oscar Mangan even later. This worked on Rory O'Shea for Oscar Mangan, but it seems like Sean McGoldrick's got a good exit nonetheless, but Mangan just looks insane running that outside line. It's a peculiar one, but he's doing a great job at it. And you can see, looking to try get past Sean McGoldrick down towards the chicane. None of these drivers have clipped the wall of champions yet. One little one try, maybe even nudge it just for a bit of good luck. But Mangan is going to back out of this one. He's not going to go ahead unless there's a mistake for Sean McGoldrick on the exit of the corner, which there could well be, but all looks fairly okay for Sean McGoldrick down towards turn number 1, starting the 5th lap here of this one. It's not the longest lap around Montreal compared to the Circuit of the Americas last week, which was well over the 2-minute mark. We were just about getting 5 laps in within 10 minutes. You can see, though, no move there for Oscar Mangan. He'll have to wait for this one, just like he had to wait for the move on Rory O'Shea. Aaron Dalton gets past Ian May for 16th. Simran Thacker gets past Andrew Murphy for 24th. A lot of moving down the field, but not necessarily up it. Kind of at a bit of a stalemate for the time being. Brian McManus in 5th place, I should say, apologies. Hunting down Rory O'Shea now. Brian, very much suited to this car and track, it seems, and especially these weather conditions. The last time himself and Rory went side by side in the rain, though, was Imola of last season, and that resulted in what was voted the #1 crash of last season in the RTA Post-Race Awards. That wiped out half the grid, maybe, at least a third of it. Anyways, Jordan Kelly now trying to put Sean McClements under pressure, and you can see Sean just holding his own here for the time being. Ian May's gone falling down the order there, so that's into the pits for him. Not a great result there for Ian, who was very quick in practice, so keep an eye on him if he does return to the field tonight. Here's Jordan Kelly trying the Oscar Mangan line round the outside. Sean McClements holds his own in the inside, doesn't squeeze Jordan all the way out to the wall, so adequate racing room left. And Jordan Kelly will be ahead of Sean McClements here sooner rather than later, it feels. Although Sean's got a great exit, actually. A better exit than Jordan Kelly. So that might just about keep Sean McClements ahead down towards the turn 13 and 14 chicane. And you can see Jordan Kelly just pushing it on the outside. This is going to be a test of bravery into the braking zone. McClements is going to win it. He'll come out on top in the Team DDR car. Jordan Kelly will have to try something different on the next lap. Here's Oscar Mangan. He's trying a move as well. Both championship protagonists are at it. And Oscar Mangan, oh, that got very close in the braking zone. Maybe just extended his braking a tad bit too far, or had a bit of a slide, almost hitting the side of Sean McGoldrick. That could have been a catastrophic incident if they both didn't have their cars under control for the time being. Very scary here, as 10 minutes is just about coming up on the clock. We'll have 5 minutes of racing to go, which is a third of the duration of this heat. Dylan McClements just has to do that if he wants to take a second win. Sean McGoldrick again, very squirmy into the braking zone. These drivers, although trying to look controlled, are getting out of shape from time and time again.
I was just going to say there, Evan, this is an absolute driving masterclass by Oscar Mangan. Using that outside line around that tight chicane, I was going, there is no way you're making that move happen. But he's using it to his advantage. If you're looking at the puddles on the exit of that corner, he's actually feeding them into that and then getting a boost down the straight. Incredible, intelligent driving. It's excellent to watch.
Yeah, and you can tell he's been there, done that, and bought the t-shirt in sim racing, because he has all the tricks up his sleeve. He's done many a sim races, Oscar, although they all have, but Oscar at a bit of a higher level maybe. He knows how to force these other drivers offline, knows where the grip is, and knows how to do it. But Sean McGoldrick giving a very valiant effort here. to try and keep Oscar Mangan behind. And you can see Mangan going for that outside line once again. Sean McGoldrick just being forced in that inside line. Oh, picks up a little bit of the raised curb. Does Oscar Mangan, but that's not going to hamper him too much. It's just about picking the overtake here. You want to give it your best attempt. You don't want to lose time by going for unnecessary moves. Oscar Mangan knows that. Just backs off for the time being as Rory O'Shea in the background, almost losing it. Got a little bit sideways in towards the first corner, and I'd say Brian McManus was almost kicked into incident avoidance mode, but didn't have to. Well held by Rory O'Shea. 11 minutes and 30 gone then here in the second of 3 heats in the Motorsport.ie Mustang America's Cup. We are watching a driving clinic from these front runners tonight, specifically from Dylan McClemens, Sean McGoldrick and Oscar Mangan, who are keeping their cars out on the track. Oscar looks a lot more settled than Sean McGoldrick does, but Oscar very much struggling to get past. On their last lap, he was actually a tenth of a second slower than Sean McGoldrick. Dylan McClemens was a thousandth of a second slower than Sean McGoldrick. So Sean McGoldrick was the quickest of the 3, and then 0.2 of a second back was Rory O'Shea. So you can see a top 3 confirming themselves here in this one. Oscar Mangan very close now, trying to get down towards the hairpin. He's been going for the outside line all day. Oh, he can't go for both of them, can he? And he gets way out of shape. Inviting himself to go for the race lead was Oscar Mangan, but the grip just wasn't quite there. He has not lost a position, crucially, so he will be able to have another go of it. Dylan McClemens losing a bit of time on this lap. That now might introduce a 3-way fight for the lead, but Oscar Mangan, I think he just saw it opening up from there, and he's like, I'm going to go for this one, but wasn't able to do so. Now Sean and Dylan both offline, so Oscar might be able to get the run on them out of the chicane. Dylan McClemens definitely seems to know what he's doing, though, because he's got a good run. Sean McGoldrick has not. This is the best opportunity for Oscar Mangan. Just corners after he made a big mistake. Oscar Mangan, is he going to go try down the inside here in towards the first corner? He's not. Sean McGoldrick somehow survives. He's almost hanging off the window ledge of a building here, but just about clinging on. Oscar Mangan staying in third, Sean McGoldrick in second. We're coming up to the final moments of this race. We'll have one more lap after this one, I believe, because it's 13 minutes on the clock. Yeah, we will have one more after this one. We'll run over the 15 minutes, but that's a problem to absolutely no one watching at home, and myself and Ronan included, because this is a brilliant, brilliant race. Overtaking, definitely not the highest numbers of all time, but it is just pure driving talent on display here in Ireland's Premier Sim Racing Series. Oscar Mangan, it feels like we've said his name hundreds of times so far this evening, but he still sits in third place. The hairpin is the corner where he's trying to make a difference. You can just see Dylan McClemens running the defensive line. Tactical, because he's been doing it all race, but does run the defensive line into another chicane. Dylan probably wants to use Sean McGoldrick here as a bit of a sort of a fence or a blockade or something, because he knows that Oscar can probably get past him if he gets past Sean, but Oscar not able to get past Sean. Jordan Kelly and Sean McClemens swapping places. Jordan now in the reverse grid pole, or is he? Because he's run wide as well through this hairpin. And Sean McClemens will stay in 8th place. Sean would be on the reverse pole. His brother Dylan looking to try and win his second win of the night. We're going on to the last lap here of proceedings. Just about getting one more lap in. There's only 30 seconds left of race time, but we will be allowed to complete the 9th lap here of heat number 2. Oscar Mangan still just can't find a way past Sean McGoldrick. He is probably at the peak of frustration right now, trying to make the move stick. Can Jordan Kelly, the other championship charger, get past Sean McClemens in towards turn number 1? Here is Kelly going for the outside line. McClemens has got a little bit out of shape, but the nature of the corner has allowed him to pretty much just box in Jordan Kelly there. If you're all over the road, in such a narrow road, there's no way for Jordan Kelly to get past. Oh, this is the last thing Dylan McClemens wants, and that's a bit of lap traffic in front of him. You do not want to get blocked here. I presume they'll get out of the way, but Dylan will just be hoping that he doesn't catch that car quickly enough in that number 5. Sean McGoldrick's had a very good first sector, and he's actually extended a little bit of a margin. in towards Oscar Mangan. And yes, that's brilliant by the lap traffic. That's very sportsmanlike to get out of the way and let us have this fight until the conclusion. On board with Rory O'Shea. Look how late he's braking to try get involved. He wants to take a piece of the pie if something went wrong, maybe into the hairpin. He knows how creative Oscar Mangan's racing lines have been into there all evening. And he knows something could potentially go wrong. In towards turn number 10 for the final time. Oscar Mangan, look how late he's braking, look how late he's braking, and he has made that mistake, but he will once again get this monster exit that he's been getting out of this corner because he's running that different line. Sean McGoldrick is gaining time on young Dylan McClements in towards the final chicane. That gap is closing to almost under 3.5 tenths of a second. Dylan McClements is under some pressure to nail his braking and to nail his racing line in towards the chicane. Sean McGoldrick not close enough. He's gone for a conservative line. Dylan McClements gets through the final corner. Is Oscar Mangan able to get the run on Sean McGoldrick? McClements takes the win, but who will take second? Mangan is closing, but it will be McGoldrick who gets ahead of Oscar Mangan. What a scrap here in heat number 2. Sean McGoldrick just keeping the fabulous Oscar Mangan at bay, and crucially, they'll both start in front of Jordan Kelly in the next heat, because Sean McClements has pipped him for a reverse grid pole. So one McClements wins the race, one McClements will be on pole for the next race. The battle's still raging all around the field between Aaron Dalton, Tony Stack, and that is Philip Upson involved in it as well, I believe. It's Upson in 17th, Dalton 18th, and Tony Stack in 19th. But this could go all pear-shaped down at the chicane if one of them misses their braking. They're all going fairly conservative. Tony Stack trying to fish around the outside of Aaron Dalton. Oh, can Tony Stack get that one done? That's a fabulous move by the Kerryman. Gets ahead of Aaron Dalton, flicks it round the outside, easy as you like. Wow, what a great race. And Ronan, I know you said that Oscar Mangan had a bit of a clinic, but he couldn't find a way past Sean McGoldrick in the end.
What a defense! Like, that is possibly one of the best wet races that I've witnessed in a long time since its integration into iRacing. Literally, he was struggling hard in the braking zones, and Oscar tried that move every single time, and like, there was times there where 100% Oscar had the run and still wasn't able to get by him. And also, I think we have to bring up Dylan McClements. My God, the two boys behind him, both Sean and Oscar, were keeping pace with him the entire time, but just to be able to stay up where he was that entire time, fair play to him, it was unbelievable.
Let's have a quick interview then with Dylan McClements after these results, but it is Dylan McClements who does take the win ahead of McGoldrick, Mangan, O'Shea, McManus, McCann, Joyce, McClements, Kelly, Jamal Gandor, Evan Watch, Adam Dowling, Tommy Nuker and Lawrence de Salzwa, Simon Hutchings, Philip Upson, Tony Stack, and Aaron Dalton then in 18th place. A little bit further down the field then, we did have, it was, apologies, my timing screen has changed, I was reading up. Good thing Ronan's moved the graphic. It's Colin Carrigan in 19th, out of Brian McCarthy 20th. Then it was Brereton, Tacker, Murphy, Prunty, Andrew Murphy, Grace McCallion, Ian May, Nathan Healy, and Ryan Smith. Let's hear from your race winner then, Dylan McClements, from that first heat. And from the first and second heat, I should say, what a performance it was. Dylan, very much a difficult race win to take, but you took it. Talk us through that one.
Oh, I was very lucky, to get off the start and build a gap towards Sean McGoldrick, and then I just kept that gap maintaining throughout the race. Maybe I think I've touched the grass 2 times in the hairpin, but I kept my head down and kept everything in line to take the win.
You had Sean McGoldrick and Oscar Mangan right behind you, keeping the pressure on. How did you manage to keep yourself composed and to just keep driving your racing lines?
Well, I was just trying not to think of winning. I just focusing on my braking points and my apex, is trying to keep everything in the line so I can secure the one.
Then for the reverse grid race, you'll start 8th, of course, after taking the win. We know it's very difficult to overtake. What's your plan then for this one? How are you going to get back up there onto the podium?
Hopefully get a good enough start and, avoid contact with anyone, because my past 2 races, there's one race that's I've always been down there. So I'm hopefully getting a good start, maybe trying to overtake, but I hope to get some good points and maybe get back up into the podium.
Dylan, thank you very much for joining us. Best of luck for heat number 3, and we hope we talk to you again after it.
All right, cheers.
Let's hear then from the second place man and the man who put up a wall in that one, Sean McGoldrick. Sean, defensive masterclass from you there in that one. Talk us through that.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I think it's easy enough here because the wet line is the defensive line, so you don't really lose much time by defending and blocking. So then there were a couple of places I could see that Oscar was a lot faster than me, but me being slow actually held him up, and he just couldn't get the run out of the corners. So I think it's more the track than me.
Still, some credit to be taken for yourself. You're on the podium in second place. For heat number 3, will you be looking to do something different, or is it just a case of surviving in these wet conditions?
Yeah, well, I've been lucky enough to be at the front the last couple, so the spray hasn't been too bad. So it's my first experience of starting in the pack. So let's see what that looks like if I can make it through the first couple of corners. Oscar's in front. Rory's incredibly fast in the wet. I think he just got out of sequence with everybody in the first race. So, and you got Dylan behind who's won everything, and Jordan. So I'm in a tough place here.
Sean, we're going to let you go and get
All right,
ready
thank you.
for heat number 3 then. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope to hear from you again soon. So, what interesting to hear from the two lads. Racing drivers sort of, I'm not sure if they make a fool of me or if they impress me, but you'd see something absolutely fantastic like we've just saw from Sean McGoldrick, and he goes, it wasn't too difficult. Like, come on, credit where credit's due. You got to pat yourself on the back sometimes. And Sean McGoldrick certainly will deserve to do that here this evening. The composure from Dylan McClements as well. He's won 2 heats, and he talks to us like he's won 105 Formula One races like Lewis Hamilton has. Just not flustered at all, knows how to take it lap by lap. And it's really impressed me. But this should be a very interesting heat number 3 because it's not easy to overtake, and it is not easy to defend at the same time if you don't have a pace advantage. Sean McClements will start on pole. He's messaged me specifically asking not to curse him, so I will try my best. Although if you're a regular Gantry TV viewer, you'll know I like to put my foot in it time and time again. Ronan, what's your thoughts going into heat 3 then? Obviously, you know the weather and stuff like that. Is it going to stay similar?
Yeah, weather's to stay the exact same. I don't see it actually falling off at all for
I'm
the
pretty
rest
sure
of
you
the
did
race.
say that.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty much going to stay the whole way through. People, like I was saying, you know, feeding themselves into different lines so that they can trick people into bad exits, which I think that if people can cop onto that like Oscar has very clearly, I think you can have some interesting moves in this race.
Yes, it'd be interesting to see what Oscar can do, maybe what Jordan can do, because Jordan's on the back foot now. You can see your starting grid there, folks, on your screen. It'll be Sean McClements and Kevin Joyce on the front row. Then Peter McCann in third, then Brian McManus in fourth. Rory O'Shea will start fifth out of Oscar Mangan in sixth. And then it'll be Sean McGoldrick and Dylan McClements seventh and eighth. Second in the championship coming into tonight, Jordan Kelly will start ninth. Jamal Gandor will start in 10th. Evan Walsh then will start 11th ahead of Adam Dowling in 12th position. Then it is Tommy Nukaran in 13th, Lawrence de Soswa in 14th, with Simon Hutchings in 15th. Philip Upson, B Championship winner from the Super Formula Light Series, will start in 16th with Tony Stack, who got that brilliant move on Aaron Dalton in 17th, with Dalton starting behind him in 18th. Colin Carrigan, then 19th out of Brian McCarthy in 20th. B Championship leader currently Stuart Britton will start 21st out of Simran Thacker in 27th. Rich Murphy then in 23rd. David Prunty in 24th. Andrew Murphy in 25th. Bryce McCallion in 26th. Ian May then in 27th. With Nathan Healy in 28th and Ryan Smith in 29th. Great to have you along with us in the stream chat, folks. Great to see Chris, Connor, Campto. I believe I saw Hans Mollet as well at one point. Great to have you all along with us. Make sure, though, folks, if you aren't subscribed to Gantry TV and you aren't following RTA's various social media channels, make sure to do so, as well as check out our title sponsor, Motorsport.ie, sponsoring the Motorsport.ie Mustang America's Cup. who are sponsoring a trophy for the winner of each Heat 3. So big pressure on the line here for these drivers who would like to pick up a nice trophy for the trophy cabinet. Chris pointed out 5 VRA cars in the top 11. Yeah, great week for VRA. It's probably because it's the first week where they've all actually turned up, but a great week nonetheless. And as Ronan reminding you, make sure to get your driver of the day predictions in, because I'm indecisive with it. You all know that. And I'm on my own this week. So that could be a long conversation. Make sure to go for someone as well who's a bit of an underdog, folks. We like to give it to those who are maybe just that little bit off the race-winning battles. But here we go then, in towards the final chicane. It'll be Sean McClements that will lead us to the start-finish, and he has gone away early as we go racing here at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. It is Kevin Joyce who's in second and Peter McCann in third. Peter not close enough to go for the move in towards the first corner. Brian McManus, though, will try and make the move stick on him. He's now got the inside line for the second of the Virage Senna, and he is up and ahead. Oscar Mangan and Dylan McClements fighting. Sean McGoldrick is actually trying to get ahead of Oscar Mangan, and this is Oscar Mangan's worst nightmare currently. Down towards the right-hander. McGoldrick is the inside line. Mangan is going to have to run his traditional outside line, but he's going to make it work this time, and it's slow through the corner for Peter McCann. That holds up Dylan McClements a little bit and allows Oscar Mangan through. Adam Dowling, big problem in the back. He's had a spin off turn 2 and he's stuck now and will look to rejoin the circuit, but a very difficult point to do so. Sean McGoldrick side by side with Peter McCann. Jordan Kelly looking to get involved as well, as is Evan Walsh. Problem there for McCann. McCann spun off the corner. Not sure if there was contact there. We might have to go to a replay in a few moments time, but he'll fall down the order. Sean McGoldrick now still under pressure from Jordan Kelly. Oscar Mangan will be thanking everybody that he is ahead of Sean McGoldrick for now, and he can charge on and attack Dylan McClements for the first time this evening. Sean McGoldrick, though, still under big pressure from Jordan Kelly, who's looking to cut through the field. The many-time RTA champion Jordan Kelly, that is, putting McGoldrick under big pressure and almost nudging him in towards the hairpin. Could be a bit of a psychological warfare here for Kelly as well. If he gets ahead of Sean McGoldrick instantly, then he can play that card with Oscar Mangan. Here we go then. This is the chaos in towards turn number 6 and 7. See, a little bit out of shape for Oscar Mangan. The two VRA cars almost going side by side. Oh, there was a little nudge there from Sean McGoldrick and Peter McCann. I'm not sure if that's what sent him round. McCann did hold his brakes nicely and all. That's what we usually look out for, what the stewards look out for, which ironically is Peter McCann, so he should know what to do. But, you know the phrase, live as how I say, not as how I do. Fastest lap for Sean McClements as he leads us to start lap number 2. Bit out of shape for Kevin Joyce. That might invite Brian McManus to get past. Ronan might be able to confirm this to me, but I believe Kevin's livery looks similar to James Dean's.
The old livery, the old Falcon livery, so he's no longer really associated with Falcon, I believe. So yeah,
right.
but it's more like your traditional Falcon livery, which is still being run on some other cars. So probably a nod to it.
Oh, that was, I thought it was a bit of a lunge down the inside there for Brian McManus. This is why I asked Ronan these things, by the way, because I would have just blatantly said, oh yeah, he's running the James Dean concept. No, completely wrong. It's just Falcon tyres. No, not Falcon tyres, Falcon. Anyways, moving onwards. Brian McManus looking to try and attack Kevin Joyce in towards the chicane, but Joyce surviving a sector which, in all honesty, I didn't think he was going to survive at one point, because I think he was sideways, late braking, and numerous markers. Sean McGoldrick is catching Oscar Mangan as well, so McGoldrick does have a bit of pace that he wasn't giving himself credit for in the pre-Heat 3 interview. McManus to the outside, but just hits that puddle that the drivers seem to be skating across, and he won't be able to get ahead. That'll invite Rory O'Shea potentially to overtake. P3 in the championship for O'Shea last season. He'd like to get back up to the lofty heights after the next couple of rounds, but had a poor start to the season. Here is Jordan Kelly, a man who'd like to return just to the top of the grid this race even, after his VR headset had a problem in heat number 1. That's what sent him down the order. Here is Jordan Kelly looking to try and get past Sean McGoldrick, but not able to do so for the time being. Both running very American-looking cars is Jordan Kelly and Sean McGoldrick, so the American fans watching at home and in attendance will be very thankful indeed. Fastest lap of the race goes to this man in third, Brian McManus, as the number 4 going slowly. That's Colin Carrigan just coming out of the pit lane and just letting the leaders through, so he doesn't want to get involved in that one. I have to say the lap traffic, the rare amount of it that we've come across tonight, has all been very respectful, so won't be getting in any trouble with the the post-race stewarding committee. And Joyce still just about holding on here through the probably one of the wetter sectors of the track, but that's a lunge from Brian McManus down the inside, and there was a nudge to get through, but Brian McManus still makes it stick. Ronan is racing, as they say, and Brian McManus has taken that literal here in the Mustang America's Cup, and he's got the job done for second place. That's a brilliant move all the same, very risky, but has got it done. Rory O'Shea now looking to try get past Kevin Joyce, 0.5 of a second behind, and Kevin Joyce just seems to be struggling a little bit with the pace from the reverse grid pole, not able to keep up with Brian McManus after Brian made that move stick. How can Rory O'Shea try and attack? Goes for the inside line. We've not seen an awful lot go for the inside line in towards the hairpin, but that's because we've seen a lot of drivers defend into that hairpin, especially the Sean McGoldrick Oscar Mangan battle that we were looking at. Speaking of defending into the hairpin, Jamal Gandor is doing it as Tommy Nukaran tries a move around the outside. Himself and Simon Hutchings both making mistakes. That's invited Lawrence de Salzwa to get past Nukaran and Stack to get past Hutchings. That's Aaron Dalton going to pass Simran Tacker, the home hero here tonight. Simran Tacker, unfortunately, making a mistake in towards the hairpin, but he's still running in 17th position. Usually, home tracks is actually quite good to Canadians. I know Lance Stroll scored his first Formula 1 point here in 2017, and he was able to take a podium a week later. So if oh, that's Jordan Kelly. That's Jordan Kelly gone around to the first corner, and the woes go higher for Jordan Kelly. He had major issues in the heat number 3 last season. No, it's Brian, sorry. It's not Jordan. Apologies to any Jordan Kelly fans watching at home. It's Brian McManus that has spun round, not Jordan Kelly. Kevin Joyce has had an issue there as well across the curb. Not sure what happens to McManus. We might have to go to a replay to check that one out, but it's not Jordan Kelly. I saw Jordan Kelly's name in the graphic and got a bit excited. Let's have a look at what happened to Brian McManus then. This is arguably an even more costly move, because he was running in second and chasing down Sean McClements. He's just got it all wrong in towards the first corner, completely under his own accord. No issues there for him, and Sean McGoldrick was very lucky not to clip him, as was Evan Walsh. Very disappointing there for him. Chris McCann saying in the stream chat that Brian should be voted for driver of the day, and then he spun. So it seems like there's someone else giving commenter curses here this evening, not commentator curses. This is Evan Walsh trying to move down the inside. Sean McGoldrick has made that one simple for him because he's made the error on his own, and Evan Walsh is just able to sneak through. Simon Hutchings battling here with Philip Upson down towards the hairpin. Upson. Oh no, that's not a great move indeed from him. He's actually hit lap traffic there. That's Colin Carrigan and Andrew Murphy, who are in the middle of this fight. They've embedded themselves in their fight for 23rd within the fight for 14th, and Philip Upson got way out of shape and filed down the order. That's Oscar Mangan who's falling down the order now, and that's him falling behind Kevin Joyce, and he's had another problem out of the chicane. It's not a cut for Oscar Mangan, so he has he's made another mistake. Ronan just giving us the info there about the penalties behind the scenes. So Oscar has made a mistake. That's not the first time tonight he's made that mistake. So he now falls behind Jordan Kelly, Kevin Joyce, and Evan Walsh. It's all building nicely for. Oh, he told me not to commentate his curse, didn't he? And I've almost just done it, but it's all building nicely for Rory O'Shea in second place. That's what I was going to say. Sean McClements getting a little bit out of shape in towards the chicane. I think if I had said it's all boding nicely for him and he then immediately makes the mistake, I don't think he'd ever speak to me again. And admittedly, I get a lot of my inside information from him, so that would have deteriorated the quality of the Gantry TV streams, which, you know, is a real shame and very selfish from Sean McClements, but we will continue on. Evan Walsh just a little bit slow into the chicane, and Oscar Mangan trying to get past after he made that mistake. He now has his new best friend behind him in the form of Sean McGoldrick. Here comes Oscar Mangan going for this traditional outside line that he's now formed, and you can see once again it's the same result. He flicks around the outside, almost gets out of shape, but he's going to get a great exit here compared to Evan Walsh. He'll tuck into the slipstream nicely. And it's almost like he's going for, what's that thing Formula E have, the attack mode around the outside of the hairpin, because he just launches off the corner after running this line. It's very smart from Oscar Mangan, and his experience is very much showing. But he's got to make the move done if he wants to deem it useful, he's not able to do so. In towards the chicane, Evan Walsh will stay in 6th place for the time being. We're almost at the halfway mark in this heat. It's been a very, very interesting one. As Chris McCann suggesting, can we make a rule that you can't use driver names, just their numbers? I presume that's in relation to the Sean Clements comment, which I'll just call him number 6 for the time being. And everyone else can have their names, because they haven't threatened me if I make a commentator's curse. Stuart Brereton actually quite likes when we make a commentator's curse, or certainly when Kieran did. Looking at Stuart, he is spoilerless. So that is a big problem for Stuart Brereton. The Rainmaster has not had a good evening at the office tonight, and he is down in 20th running spoilerless, similarly to how Peter McCann actually did, who is ironically the man in front of him, how Peter McCann did in Imola last season. Peter went on to take a podium the next race, so that bodes nicely for Stuart Brereton. This is Jamal Gandor we're looking at, under pressure from Lawrence de Soswa. And admittedly, I was giving Lawrence a little bit of stick in qualifying when I found that he was going to do a last to first. He is looking to finish 9th here, potentially. That's not bad at all from Lawrence, considering he started 24th in heat number 1. And he's going to get past Jamal Gandor here, because Jamal's got all out of shape on the exit of the hairpin, and this will allow Lawrence de Soswa to hook it round the outside here. Jamal going for a very defensive line, and Lawrence knows that. Going to potentially try the up and under here at the hairpin. Oh, he went for the inside line. Jamal closed it off. Jamal just closing it off there, knowing what Lawrence was trying to do, and he gets ahead. Jamal, a man with a lot of experience as well, raced in the GT Academy competition in Silverstone in 2014. So he's been around race cars and sim racing a long time, and maybe a bit of experience showing there. And Lawrence, a man who's been sim racing for a while as well, running his successful YouTube channel, of course. Here is Evan Walsh looking to try get past Kevin Joyce. Kevin re-promoted himself back into the top 5 after a couple of moments for Oscar Mangan and for Brian McManus. That is Lawrence de Soswa now ahead of Jamal Gandor, so Jamal's efforts were not long-lived, and Lawrence was able to get the move stick. He's got Stack behind him now, trying to take that 10th place. Up the front, though, the pressure's on for Sean McClements, and it is Rory O'Shea who is catching him. Rory sliding in the brakes, but very much has it under control here. Rory would like to take a 2nd podium of the season and a 1st race win of the season. Took his 1st race win of the Super Formula Lights campaign in Heat 3, Round 3 at the Nürburgring. So, you know, I'm all one for traditions and repetition, so that would bode nicely. Oscar Mangan, is this a bit of deja vu for him? Is he going to struggle to get past the car in front? It is Kevin Joyce who's in front of him, though, and Kevin has ran a very steady race, but I do think Sean McGoldrick, just has that pace advantage. Speaking of Sean McClements, has forced O'Shea to the outside line, the Oscar Mangan line, as I'm now going to deem it, and Sean McClements is going to stay ahead for the time being, but Rory O'Shea has got a good exit on the team. DDR Machine in the lead of this race. On board with O'Shea now. My goodness, look at the spray. You can barely see Sean McClements in front. I'm sure Rory has a better view of it from the driver's seat, but down towards the hairpin now, you can just about see Sean McClements as he pulls out of that spray. O'Shea once again sliding into the braking zone, but that seems more to be a controlled slide than anything to just carry that little bit of speed in towards the first corner. Then Sean McClements needs to go all elbows out here on Rory O'Shea if he wants to try and get it stick. And that's not going to be the move stick for Rory O'Shea. Sean McClements staying ahead for the time being. It is an evening of McClements' defensive manoeuvres. Dylan taking Heat 1 and Heat 2 wins. Sean would like to take one for himself. Oscar Mangan still not able to get past Kevin Joyce. Has Evan Walsh behind him as well. Sean McGoldrick has dropped off a little bit, which would make me think he's made a mistake. He's now fallen into the clutches of Lawrence de Soswa in that battle for 7/10 of a second, separating them now here in heat number 3. We've got 6 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the final heat of the evening, and Rory O'Shea's got ahead of Sean McClements in the battle for the race lead, and Dylan McClements is now in the race lead, as that's Rory O'Shea off the circuit. Oh, they're both off the circuit. Sean McClements and Rory O'Shea are off the track, and that's heartbreak for the both of them, who are looking to take their first heat win of the season. We will definitely have to get a replay of that one, because I do believe that is an incident. Here is the Gantry TV instant replay. How has it gone wrong for Sean McClements and Rory O'Shea this time? In towards the left-hander, where a lot of action has happened tonight. Did Sean? Oh, it's a bit of lap traffic. Sean goes wide. Oh no, that's awfully disappointing for them. That's Andrew Murphy, I believe, who spun, and Sean and Rory just came together as both were trying to avoid that lapped car. That is awful. As we rejoin the action, Dylan McClements is now in the race lead. Can Dylan maybe go for the hat-trick here tonight? It would be unlikely from 8 from the grid, but we've seen weirder things here, and this is Sean McClements looking to get past Rory O'Shea. These were both really quick and both driving really well, and I think that's very unfortunate for both of them to get involved in that incident with the lapped car and cost them a potential race win and a second place, whatever order you see it in. It's very unlikely to happen now. Down towards turn number 1 then, the rain is pouring still, and it's Evan Walsh. He's got ahead of Kevin Joyce. Kevin Joyce has spun in towards the first corner, similar to what Brian McManus did, except he's ended up parking it on the grass, and he's going to have to wait for a gap in the traffic to get ahead. I think after Brian McManus there's a 13 or so second window, and he will be able to get back ahead. Disappointing for Kevin there. It's an evening of disappointment, it seems. Lots of drivers making a mistake, but we knew this was going to be a race of attrition when we saw the wet weather, and that's Lawrence de Soswa, another man who's gone off. Fourth car to go off from a high position in multiple laps, and Lawrence has spun it, and he's going to try flick it back around, but this is a horrible position to end up in, and there's another car gone in the background as well. Lawrence falls behind Tommy Nukarin, and he's broken his front bumper off. So that will it will reduce some of the 1,115 kilograms that the car is made of, but it will also hamper his aerodynamics. Let's have a look at what happened to Lawrence then in his last to first challenge. Right-hander. Oh, spun it on his own. Yes, spun it on his own, did Lawrence there. Very, very disappointing. Ronan, that was a couple of laps of, I suppose, chaos.
Yeah, it was always going to happen on this longer race, wasn't it? But yeah, just noted there while you were gone. I don't know what happened to Evan Walsh, but Evan Walsh actually crashed. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, problem for Evan Walsh because Oscar Mangan is back up to third, but there's a 7-second gap between himself and Jordan Kelly. Let's have a look at Evan Walsh then. In the number 2, the Irish livery on board. The same scheme with different colours as the rest of his VRA Racing teammates. Oh wow! Oh,
that's a shocker. Yeah,
that's a very sort of rare mistake. Held up Oscar Mangan a little bit, which has explained the extension in that gap, but that's almost sort of a rookie error for Evan Walsh there, Ronan.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be slightly bit harsh, but he kind of bottled it. He was way out there a bit in front of Oscar, and he would have been able to hold that for. He would have only had to have held that for 3 minutes, which is I feel like he probably could have done, but yeah, that's very unfortunate for him. And yeah, I don't know if you've noticed, but look who's snuck up that leaderboard in the entire time of all that chaos going on. It's Jordan Kelly.
Yeah, and he's now only 1 second off the lead. Jordan Kelly doing Jordan Kelly things. I'd like to claim I said at the start of the stream at some point that if you can just survive this one, you can pick yourself up a good result. I probably didn't, but certainly that's the way it's been here tonight, because we've had Oscar Mangan make a mistake, Rory O'Shea, Sean McClemens get involved in an incident. Oscar Mangan makes another mistake, just as we say it, heading through turn number 8 and 9. That promotes Rory O'Shea back onto the podium, and Oscar Mangan has made another mistake. Both our championship leaders have had howlers here tonight. Jordan Kelly's recovered nicely to second, but Oscar Mangan now falls behind Sean McGoldrick and under pressure from Jamal Gandor. Just as he was heading in towards turn number 8 and 9, he's made what maybe a similar mistake to Evan Walsh, not quite as drastic, but Evan Walsh is still in 4th, by the way, which goes to show how big a gap he actually had on the rest of the field. He could still finish on the podium if Rory O'Shea was to make another error, but yeah, wow, what an evening this has been of action. It's been a peculiar night of RTA racing, a peculiar night here in the Motorsport.ie Mustang America's Cup, but we knew this track and these weather conditions would bring some chaos. We're now only a minute and 15 away from the end, which would, is this going to be the last lap? I'm not sure. The weather has picked up because we're doing much slower lap times than we were in qualifying and at the start of this race. We were in the 149s at the start of this race. We're now in the 150s. Jordan Kelly is looking to hound down Dylan McClements here, and Jordan usually would stay behind and go for better championship points, but he knows there's a big opportunity to claim the full 30 here in Heat 3 while Oscar Mangan is down the order. I do think this is going to be the white flag lap. I do think this is going to be the last lap of the race, as we can see Dylan McClements being put under some amount of pressure by Jordan Kelly. There's 30 seconds to go. It's going to be very close to the line here. Dylan McClements is going to be praying that this is the last lap of the race, because Jordan Kelly is the bit between his teeth and he wants to take the race win here. Has Dylan gone deep into the hairpin? No, he hasn't. Just about survives. This is going to be the last lap of the race. It won't actually be as close as I thought. There's 10 seconds to go on the clock, and Dylan McClements is looking to make his own history here and confirm his own legacy in RTA. He's got to defend for 2 more corners. He's defended all evening here ahead of Jordan Kelly. Jordan is looking for this one in towards the final corner. It's a battle we've seen many a time in the last year. Dylan McClements, is he able to get through the final corner and get a good exit? Look how close it is coming towards the line. It's 1/10, under half a tenth of a second. It's not enough. Dylan McClements has completed a hat-trick here in RTA. He's taken it by less than a tenth of a second. Dylan McClements, Heat 1, Heat 2, and from 8th on the grid in Heat 3, he wins and takes 3 wins in the one evening. He didn't even take 3 wins last season. He only took 3 wins in the GT4 Cup. He's done it all in one rainy night in Montreal, and what an achievement that is for him. Evan Walsh will get the podium. Rory O'Shea made a mistake, and Evan Walsh is up to 3rd. He will get the podium. Sean McGoldrick in 4th. Rory O'Shea in 5th, Oscar Mangan in 6th, Sean McClements 7th, Jamal Gandor, very steady result for Jamal in 8th, Brian McManus 9th, Kevin Joyce 10th, Tony Stack 11th, Tommy Nuker in 12th, David Prunty in 13th, Peter McCann 14th, Simran Tacker 15th for the home faithful, Lawrence de Sosma in 16th, Stuart Brereton 17th, Aaron Dalton 18th, Andrew Murphy 19th, and then Colin Carrigan will come home in 20th position. Wow, that was unbelievable from Dylan McClements. Luck played nicely into his hand in Heat 3, but certainly he was insanely quick all night, insanely composed as well, held his nerve, and we will hear from himself, Jordan and Evan Walsh after we run you through the full race results. Here's Colin Carrigan, who's going to round us out tonight in 20th place. A couple of big results across the field. Tommy Nuker in 12th. That's a huge points position there for him, especially considering where he is in the championship. Down the order is Tommy, 32nd position. Currently he's 1 point to his name because he's claimed 16 and he's 15 reduced in penalties. So Tommy Nuker in 12th, that's a big point score for him. Tony Stack as well, who had a very poor qualifying. He comes home in 11th, picking up good points. As well for Jamal Gandor, who has had a good season so far. He's in a bit of a championship fight with Tony Stack and with Lawrence de Sosua, so that'll propel him up the order a little bit. But here is your full race results from Heat 3. Dylan McClements in 1st, Jordan Kelly 2nd, Evan Walsh in 3rd, Sean McGoldrick 4th, Rory O'Shea in 5th, Oscar Mangan in 6th, Sean McClements 7th, Jamal Gandor in 8th, Brian McManus in 9th, Kevin Joyce in 10th, then it's Tony Stack in 11th, Tommy Nuker in 12th, David Prunty 13th, Peter McCann 14th, Simran Tacker 15th, Lawrence de Sosua 16th, then it is Stuart Brereton 17th, ahead of Aaron Dalton in 18th, Andrew Murphy 19th, Colin Carrigan in 20th, Philip Upson in 21st, and it was Grace McCallion in 22nd. That's actually a great recovery from Grace to get up there from. Did she even set a lap in qualifying? It's been a long night. I cannot remember what laps people said in qualifying. Simon Hutchings in 23rd, Rich Murphy 24th, Ian May 25th, Adam Dowling 26th, Nathan Healy 27th, Brian McCarthy in 28th, and Ryan Smith in 29th. Let's hear from Dylan McClements then. 3 from 3 tonight for him, and had to work very hard for them as well. Dylan, you have just won every race tonight here around Canada. How does that feel?
It was great, picking up 3 wins in the most like I forget the word, but the most like biggest sim racing league in Ireland. It's a big achievement for me, and it'll be great for the championship. It's really, I've never done it before.
We have the number one I-rated racing driver in Ireland racing tonight. We have the 2023 British Formula 4 champion. Neither of them have been able to take a hat-trick so far this season, and you've just beaten them out of the park. It's definitely a good evening for you, I think we could say.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I don't know if it's something to me doing with rain, 'cause, last season in Donington I took a win the last race, I think it was. I think rain kind of just suits me.
Well, we saw your cousin Ronan taking a hat-trick in the rain last season in Imola. Has he taught you any tricks on how to be quick here in these wet conditions?
No, but it's like I copied him. It's like no attempts, but I've definitely learned a lot racing in this league. Being at number one in Ireland.
Well, Dylan, congratulations. We're going to let you go and celebrate that one. I have a feeling you might win Driver of the Day as well. So, congratulations. A fantastic evening from you.
Cheers.
And now let's hear from the second place man, Jordan Kelly, who got so close to taking that win in heat number 3. Jordan, firstly, heat number 1, VR problem, we were told.
My VR, the tracking was going in a specific corner every single lap. Must be when I was tilting my head or something. And then just on the last lap, it decided to friggin' shut off, and I had to reset everything. But it was just a bit unfortunate. But I'm still happy with this the wet. So it was I didn't pass many people, but everything happened in the last race, and it was just worked out for me, I suppose.
I think you've got to be happy with second, surely, to Heat 3 after how the evening was going after the
Oh,
VR tracking issue.
yeah, that's for sure. It was good to see Dalton have the 3 ones, but I was very disappointed to see Sean getting his incident there a couple laps to go, because it would have been nice to see him have his first one and stuff. But hopefully he'll be up there again. Yeah, to get it.
In terms of your championship fight, then, it was between yourself and Oscar kind of coming into tonight, but you both had your fair share of incidents. It's a lot more wide open now. Are you focusing on a championship fight, or are you just taking it how it comes?
We'll see how it comes out. Probably the next round or two, you'll soon know how many points you need and stuff. So we'll see how it goes from there. But I'm happy enough for the night. Just if I didn't have the VR, I probably would have been in a better place, because I didn't make too many mistakes tonight. But it was hopefully next week it'll be a wee bit better.
Jordan, thank you very much for joining us, and we do hope to hear from you soon.
We'll do it.
Let's hear from a second Evan then this evening. It's Evan Walsh, who came third in heat number 3. Evan, we saw a mistake from you there in the last couple of laps, but you still managed to finish on the podium.
Yep, I got very lucky there. I had a couple of spins in it, and I was in third then, and I thought, right, keep it now, spun, and I was like, right, that's it, over, just keep the head down now. And then Oscar spun, and then was a Rory, I think, spun in front of me then on the last lap as well. And that was, yeah, tough going. I got so slippy in the last 5 minutes, it was just lethal.
It seemed to be difficult throughout the night, but you managed to have quite good pace. Was it just a case of the conditions just suited you for the most part, or was it just you kept yourself sort of clean while everyone else had a few issues?
I felt I was really struggling there. In practice, even, it was very hard to be consistent. The lap times were kind of all over the place, but yeah, in the race, I just found everyone was kind of pulling away once they kind of got to about a second. I just trying to keep distance with the spray and everything. It was just so easy to get lost, and I was like, right, just keep it clean, because lads will start making mistakes. So overall, I suppose it was fairly good, considering I managed a few good positions now tonight. So happy enough.
It's your second time on the podium this season. Is that kind of the goal going into a week? Try snatch a podium, or would you maybe be looking at a race win at some point?
Oh, I don't know about that now. There's too many fast lads. I kind of looked my way into it now this evening. The first round, I seem to be going fairly well, but I suppose as the championship goes on, the fast lads will just get faster, and I kind of get to a certain level, and it's hard to keep pushing it beyond that. But
I look, a race win would be nice, to be fair. Whether it's in the first 2 races or I get a trophy in the feature race, I don't know. But look, we'll keep tipping away and having a bit of fun anyway.
Evan, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations on the podium, nevertheless.
Thanks very much.
So that is it. The podium interviews for tonight. Great to hear from the drivers, and great to hear from Dylan McClements, who took 3 wins from 3. I'm seeing a couple of comments there from Chris McCann and from McGuinness Racing saying Dylan McClements for driver of the day. I have to agree. Ronan, is there any objections?
Absolutely not. Again, how many times can we say it? Dylan has just got talent beyond his years, and the way he drove tonight, so consistent, especially in the conditions. We have to give him driver of the day. There's just absolutely no option. And honestly, what a points haul he pulled in tonight as well.
Yeah, the full 90. And the crack will be 90 in the McClements household tonight. Sorry, I had to make that joke. Yeah, insane points haul from Dylan. Has put himself well within a championship fight now. He was going well anyways in 6th, but was on 100 points after 2 rounds. He's just picked up 90 here tonight. And those names in front of him, firstly, Ronan Doherty didn't race, so no points there from him. That's 90 gained over Ronan. Sean was very hard done by in Heat 3, but Dylan did beat, well, he beat everyone in 3 races, but Sean was behind him, so he's gained points over him. He's gained points over Jordan Kelly as well, who lost them in the first heat and the second heat, really. He only lost 2 points to him in Heat 3. Oscar Mangan as well had his fair share of troubles, so he has gained a massive amount of points here tonight. Well within the championship fight, and more Dylan McClements will be seen throughout the season. But tonight, he is driver of the day. Well earned indeed, and he'll be picking himself up a nice trophy thanks to our title sponsors, Motorsport.ie, who we are extremely thankful to have on board here. The coverage on Motorsport.ie of Irish motorsport is fantastic, and I think Dylan McClements might be a name that's featuring on there a little bit more in the future, but I'll say nothing. Big thanks, of course, to Ronan Hederman behind the scenes, who not only provided a fabulous stream tonight, but also gave me a chance to drink some water, which is very much appreciated. Next week, you can find us at the Daytona Roval, where Kevin should be back from his Olympics gallivanting and joining us in the broadcast booth once again. But what an evening we had here tonight in Montreal. It rained, it poured, but it provided entertainment. And do join us next Tuesday once again at 9 o'clock. You know that this is the Ireland's Premier Sim Racing Series. We know it's Ireland's Premier Sim Racing Series. So why wouldn't you be here? Big thanks to those commenting on the stream as well and popping a subscription on Gantry TV. That helps us with the action here greatly. Once again, for myself and from, I was about to say for myself, Ronan. My name's not Ronan, funny enough. From Ronan behind the scenes and from myself, Evan, a big thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay well. We'll see you next time, and slán go fóill.